Hey everybody, welcome back to Electric Cafe. Today's album review is on James' 1993 album called Laid. Um, this was the band's fifth album. They started out in 1982 out of Manchester. My experience with them is kind of limited. I remember Born of Frustration. I really enjoyed that song. Probably, I think it was on the album before this, or maybe two albums before this. That was kind of like a college radio hit. And when this album came out, of course, Laid was a pretty popular song, and then also Saw Something was played on radio. And I really enjoyed those songs, but I really never really got around to really buying one of their albums until probably like 5 years ago. I was in a CD store and I was like, oh, I'm going to pick up Laid for a couple bucks. And I really enjoyed the album, and I thought I would add it to this, my focus week on indie pop and shoegaze and dream pop, and I thought I'd add to the list here. But there's still a few albums of theirs are in my want list. I did get a chance to check out a few of their songs on their latest album because I was reviewing it online, and I really enjoyed the first single from it. Um, but from what I have listened to, and I've probably seen some concerts online. I I, I do like James, um, a bit more than I suppose most of the more successful Brit pop, your Blur and your Oasis and all those kind of bands. I like James a lot more than those kind of bands. So I'm interested to get more albums of theirs for sure, and kind of get to know their music a little bit more. I think this will be the start of it. I know this album fairly well. Never reviewed it till now, but I think this will kick off me wanting to get more of their albums. So not only can I can review them, but just so I can enjoy them and get to know the band a lot better. When I think of this album, I think when I think of the good things about this album, it's a very balanced and flowing album. Um, but could it even been better? That's a question mark. And I'll kind of talk a little bit about that. I think there is an opportunity on maybe too many songs on this album. There's 13 songs on this album. That might be a possibility. Why, even though I think it's a strong, balanced, and flowing album, it could have been a little bit tighter. I think with a couple songs left off. Um, there's obviously some strong songwriting on this album. I really, really enjoy Tim Booth's singing, and he's very passionate about what he sings about, and he's a strong lead singer for sure, strong frontman. He has something to say, which I really like. It's not he's just spouting out words, or I mean, you can really he's an emotional singer, and in a way he's kind of somebody that you can trust when he sings. Like when he takes you on a song, when he starts out like maybe a ballad or something like that, and you're kind of like, oh, do I like the song? Do I know it? Am I gonna like it? Like if you don't know it, like he seems like you can trust him as a singer, and he'll kind of guide you the way through the song, which I think is. I don't say that a lot about um, a lot of singers, but he kind of he seems like he would be a nice person, like he could be a friend. Like he almost sings to you like not that he's telling you or sharing with you. He's just kind of guiding you along and making you think. And I think you can kind of like trust him with what he sings about. That he has good intentions. It's kind of I don't know. It's kind of a strange feeling. It's just you kind of get a nice feeling from the way he sings that you feel that he really cares. You know, I think he's clever as well. He has a lot of soul. You know, to his singing, to what he sings about too. He has a nice tone and inflections in his voice. He can hit some really nice notes, I think. It's kind of like a balance of folk, pop, and soul music in a way. You know, just a very unique singer, very strong frontman, and I really think highly of him. This album has some really strong songs. Like "Say Something" is one, "Something," sometimes. "Dream Thrum" is really good. "Out to Get You." I really enjoy those four tracks. Those are probably my four favorite tracks on here. Um, the band behind him is definitely well rounded, cohesive. Nothing really sticks out individually, and maybe that's the key to making the songwriting and the lead singer the focus. Even though they play some different instruments, there's quite a few of them. It's not like just a bass player. It's not always just a bass player, a guitar, and a drummer. Like they have, some horns and some other unique instruments and different instruments, and they play like a merry band. Like they play like a folk band in a way, but nobody goes kind of like. There's really no solos. There's really no selfish playing. There's really no like anybody trying to stick out. It sounds like James and the band, like, or really Tim Booth and the band. Like, it's funny how they call it James. Like, I wonder what. Curious if you guys know why they call their band James when nobody in the band is called James. But the band takes a nice background to the singing and the songwriting, and Tim Booth as a frontman. They're very supportive and solid, but nothing sticks out. Nothing's like, oh, bass line on this one's really good. It's just really good, just songwriting and just kind of pop, folk, and soul songs. Um, on the good side. Um, you know, when I look at the tracks, the first track there's 13 tracks on here. Out to Get You. I really like this. This is a good opener. It's mostly an acoustic song, which is a really interesting uh, opening track. Good lyrics, well sung like normal. 3.25 stars. Sometimes 3.5 stars. Catchy. It's kind of, it has like a sing along, which I call kind of like a campfire song, a sing along. I kind of use that a lot when it sort of sounds like a jamboree, like sounds like an acoustic guitar, and like it almost has like a little bit of a gospel feel to it, but it's kind of like a sing along, like something you would sing around like a campfire or something like that. A lot of James songs kind of sound like that, where it's kind of those like sing along songs, and sometimes this is a really good one like that. Really like the guitar riff, really like the chorus. And then track three, oh, that was 3.5 stars by the way. Also 3.5 stars for Dream Thrum. Nice, moody, nice, a little bit more eerie. I really love the darker bridge into the chorus on this one. So just 3.5 stars for that too. So just from the first three songs, you kind of get the full range of James as a band. You got like an acoustic opener that's a little bit moody. Sometimes it's really poppy and it's kind of sing along and perfect pop music, and then Dream Thrum is kind of a little bit more in depth and makes you think, and a little bit more deeper. So it's just you just kind of get, just from the first three songs on the album, you kind of get the idea of what a strong range they have. They got a slow, meaningful opener, a poppy song that is really catchy, and then a deeper sort of spiritual, meaningful song in Dream Thrum. Just right off the bat, you get that first three songs. An amazing start to the album. Track four, one of the three, another good one, really strong overall, 2.75. Saw Something is my favorite song on the album. Just a great pop indie song. One of those songs I could just play for an hour in a row and wouldn't care. I love the lyrics. I love the tones on the guitar and the main riff. Shows you the emotional power and the connection his voice has on this song. The last vocals at the end with his, kind of add-on ad-lib riff that he has, just magic. Awesome song. 4.5 stars. Really amazing song. I just love that song so much. Track number 6, 5-0. I like the groove, and this one kind of grows out of it, grows out of that groove really strong. I really like the chorus and the harmony. 3 stars. P.S. 2 3/4 stars. I like the kind of country soundtrack sound on this one, which there's a few songs that kind of have a sort of campfire chorus slash country soundtrack sound. It's like almost as if they were listening to uh, what was it, Ennio Morricone? The like I can't pronounce his name right now. Guy who does all the country, all the Clint Eastwood soundtrack stuff, like Fistful of Dollars and stuff like. He did all his Italian. He's an Italian composer. Did all those soundtracks. It kind of sounds like they were listening to some of those soundtracks, and sort of turned them into pop songs. Um, Everybody knows this is the kind of the weaker part of the album, the kind of middle to the end. Tracks 8, 9, and 10. Everybody knows pretty good. It's 2 1/4 stars. Knuckle Too Far. This one maybe goes a little too far on the country campfire songs. 1.5 stars. Low, low, low. This is the only song I don't like on the album. I have it as okay, 1 star. It's a little bit annoying. It kind of sounds like a drinking song. It's like low, low, low. I don't know. It's kind of silly. I don't think it goes with the album at all. I think if you took these 3 tracks off and you bridge PS with then laid, track number 11, I think you have a nice 10-track album that would be a perfect album in a lot of ways. I wouldn't say perfect, but I mean a really strong, much stronger album. Uh, it's just those 3 songs don't really do much for me. Laid is certainly a catchy song. I got 3 1/4 stars. In some ways, it doesn't really belong on this album. So I'd actually be even okay of taking Laid off and maybe putting one of those 3 on that I don't like the one I like a little bit more. Everybody knows. Maybe taking off Knuckle Too Far, Low, 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 and Laid. Putting Laid out as a single still. It's a catchy song, but I don't know if it goes on this album. And it's strange that it's at the end of the album when it's probably the most well-known song on the album. Like they were almost reluctantly put it out as a single because there was, I don't know if that was pressure from the label or something like that to actually put out a single, because it's strange to have the main single from the album be track number 11 on a 13-track album. Anyways, it's a catchy song, for sure. I got 3 1/4 stars. Track number 12, Lullaby. Good song, 2.5 stars. And I really like the ending track. Has a cool beat in the atmosphere. Obviously, Brian Eno does keyboards on some of the songs on this album. He must be involved in this track because this screams Brian Eno on it. And I'm a huge Brian Eno fan, and I can spot what he does usually pretty quickly. But just an amazing end of the album, and I really like Skin Diving. 3 1/4 stars. So yeah, just a really strong album. When I add up all the stars, I got 37 stars divided by 13 songs. That's a 2.84. So if I took out those 3 songs and averaged it out without those 3 songs, it'd be a 3.13. So those 3 low songs kind of hurt the album a little bit from being good or very good. But considering this album, I pushed it over the top, and I gave it a 71 out of 100. I think it's a very good album for sure. But I think it would be even better if you took out those 3 stars, any 3 songs, and make it 10 songs. It's hard for me to say what I think is the 3 worst songs. You might think is the 3 worst songs on the album, but I feel like 13 songs is a little long for an album. I love having more music like anybody else, but if you want a tight, concise album that you know that really you can visit a lot, sometimes when it goes to like 12, 13, 14 songs, it's kind of you're kind of pushing the envelope of people's attention span. And even if you think you have, and you can't, cut down the tracks to be a little bit, shorter. I get it, but sometimes you run the risk of making it too long, making it too many songs, and then the possibility of some of them not fitting. There's a nice roundness to doing an album, 10 songs, and some of the best probably if you probably looked at some of the best albums in the history of pop music, you might be surprised how many albums are 10 songs. And I think there's a reason because of that. There's a reason for that too. There's a flow. There's an opening, closing, opening, higher point, right, and then maybe a middle point, right, and then you kind of bring it back up. So it goes like in two waves. So you have kind of the opening gets you comfortable, then you might have the peak, then you might have some changes, right? Then you bounce it back up, and then you end it, right? So there's a nice flow to a 10-track album that gives you the opportunity to still be creative enough, but still kind of put out the more popular or ones you think are more well made, and balance it out with a little bit of depth and it not be overly too long. When albums go over 40, 45 minutes, pop albums, you push the limits. This one's probably pushing 50 minutes for sure. I don't know exactly, but 13 songs. There's a couple over 5 minutes. There's a couple under 3 minutes. But I would think on average probably at least 4 minutes per song. So that's putting it at around 52 minutes. So that's a little long for a pop album. Unfortunately, I don't mind it. It doesn't hurt my score of the album, but I feel like it could be scored a little better if you took out the three lowest songs. I think obviously the rating would be higher, but it's just you just want to make it a little bit more concise. I think if you're wanting to really kind of make the album stand out and make the album be visited more often because it's easier to get through. That's kind of the other thing is sometimes when the album's a little long, it's hard to get through the full album, and because of that, sometimes you don't want to visit the album because it's too much to take on, especially for pop music. For pop music, you generally want something to like put in and sort of tune out, and it's over in a half an hour. Not really half an hour, but but a 20-minute drive somewhere and a 20-minute drive back, and you listen to the album. When things are 50, 55 minutes, where do you drive somewhere that's a half an hour weekly? Unless you have traffic, but yeah, just kind of, just little longer albums can hurt the replay ability or desirability for somebody who's wanting to play your album. What else? Opportunities on the album. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, Brian Eno mentioned that. Strong engineering, recording, and mixing on this album. It sounds like a really good album overall, fidelity wise. Everything sounds good there. The only opportunity in the album I feel like was what I just talked about it, and it being 10 songs and being a little bit more higher consistent because it has less songs, being a little bit more consistent. But yeah, I got it 71 out of 100. I think it's a very good album. Right on the low side of very good, but nonetheless, a very good album. I really enjoy it. And I'm looking forward to getting more of their music and reviewing more of their albums. Curious if you have a favorite James album that I should do next in the future, and what's your favorite 3 songs on this album? For me, it's Saw Something, Sometimes, and Don Thrum, excuse me. Those are my favorite 3 tracks. All right, thanks so much for listening. All right, or watching, or both.